Not the mods. Yeah, this has been an ongoing thing for a while.
For as long as games have existed, players have been modding them.
What in oblivion is that?
You want to know what the original mod is? Putting a piece of cardboard between the split screens in Halo 1, so you don't have like your little brother or your friend watch your screen to see where you're at. That's the original mod right there.
Whether they were creating entirely new experiences or just putting Thomas the Tank Engine in a game. But slowly, the creators of some of our favorite games have become outright hostile towards mods. And with some big changes happening in gaming, the future of modding might be in trouble, which seems odd. Some of the most successful games in history have benefited massively from modding. Skyrim has been released like 15 times at this point.
Yeah.
People keep buying it because of the modding community. The thing is, many people who play video games are creative. They want to make the experience their own. And if they have the tools to do so in a game that they already love, then they will. Incredible modding communities have created entirely new genres, turned mods into standalone experiences, and have given games communities that have lasted 20 plus years after they've been released. While a lot of mods change up gameplay and add new content, some of the most commonly used ones make very minor quality of life tweaks.
I think that's the way that most mods are. Like, it's just things that just make something easier to play. Like, you know, for example, the Valheim mod that like auto sorts chests and stuff like that.
In the UI, changing the graphics, or they just add something funny. One of the first mods ever made was Castle Smurfenstein, a small change for Castle Wolfenstein on the Apple II. A little weird, but we could all see from the beginning, modders have been making all sorts of stuff. This is part of the fun. Majority of the time, I just see mods like Shrek and Skyrim.
Yeah.
Just people having fun replacing character models. Even though it doesn't look like much, the sheer goofiness of these mods does add value. Because for many players, these small goofy changes add replayability, which ultimately sells more copies. The developers don't even need to lift a finger. Sounds like...
Well, you want to talk about replayability, bro, like, you don't need to think about this shit. You got to think about Dark Souls. Like, you go and you look at Steam, like, some of these people went and made a whole-ass new game. Like, Dark Souls Arc Thrones, that's a new game. Like, Dark Souls Daughters of Ash, that's a new fucking game, man. It is insane.
A win-win to me, right?
Convergence
Not to mention,
mod?
there are cases where mods are genuinely game-changing, like the DayZ mod for Arma 2. When the DayZ mod came out, it was incredibly unique. Tons of people who had no interest in Arma wanted to play DayZ. But
I was one of those
play
people.
this mod without owning Arma 2 first.
Yeah,
So in this case, and
I never
many
bought
others,
it, but I thought
players
about
might
buying
not
it.
be that interested in the base game, but a modded version is what sells
Yeah, exactly.
them. So even if a crazy realistic milsim isn't your cup of tea, you've got to own that milsim to play the awesome zombie survival game. So thanks to DayZ, Arma 2 saw a massive sales boost, as much as 300,000 copies within
For a
2 months of the
fucking
mod's
mod.
release.
That is insane.
Wild. All that work done at no cost.
That's like winning the lottery. Like, imagine just like randomly selling 300,000 copies of your game because somebody else made a mod for it. It's like, oh, nice. Cool.
Cost to the developer.
Great.
And they got to just rake in the
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah, I bet he's happy.
The mod is GTA 5 Roleplay. This is a mod for GTA 5.
That's a really good point.
Completely
Yeah.
changes the gameplay and allows players to do things like get an actual job, be a police officer enforcing the law, or get held hostage during someone else's heist. The popularity of GTA 5 RP has helped GTA 5 be one of the top 3 watch categories on Twitch for the past 3 years in a row. And
Yeah, it's been insane. Like, because people still get focused on GTA RP even now. Like, is SFan live doing it right now? Of course he fucking is. What else would he be doing? There it is. At this exact very fucking moment, people are doing GTA RP, and it is the 3rd most watched. I mean, to be fair, it's the 2nd most watched just because Kai's playing Elden Ring right now. It is the 2nd most watched category on the entire platform. It is insane.
Popular and people want to try out the mod, they have to buy a copy of the game.
Yep,
the benefits
I did.
of mods to both players and developers
it's that
seem
guy.
crystal clear. You would think smart developers would do everything they could to court modders to their game and make modding as easy as possible. With all these benefits, why are some developers doing everything they can to keep modders away, even taking legal action? Well, for starters, mod support isn't as simple as just flipping a lever.
Yeah.
There are many different levels of mod support that developers can add. They could make it easy for players to change numbers in a text file, or they could give them the tools to make new maps and levels, or they can make the script more accessible. Generally, none of these things are very easy from a developer's perspective.
I've always assumed that this is the reason why Bethesda wants to use the creation engine, because it's very good for modding. I feel like that's the main reason.
Give modders access to the same tools.
It's not actually because it's good.
And adding mod support can take a lot of time, know-how, and effort. But even if developers don't add mod support, dedicated players will find a way. Whether they create a custom mod launcher to make mods accessible, or just individually tweaking the game's code, no amount of dev resistance has ever fully stopped modding. So if modding is pretty much inevitable anyway, and brings so many benefits, even if you don't have time to build in the tools, why do some studios react so negatively to people that mod? Larian Studios might have something to say about reason number 1, backlash. Larian Studios, the developers of Baldur's Gate 3, recently received a ton of backlash from the modding community. Baldur's Gate 3 has recently been called the first real quadruple A game. Sorry, Skull and Bones. And the developers have done an excellent job communicating with the player base about...
Well, this is what's going to happen. Like, this happens with every game whenever there's new patches, that it's going to fuck up mod support. Every single time that happens. Yeah, I mean, that's the same with WoW, right?
Updates. And while they don't have any official mod support yet, they are very pro mods. So what has people upset? Well, the game recently had a major patch which changed the game's script extender. So players with any mods installed that used the script extender couldn't play the game with mods until it was updated. And shortly after the patch, many mods were updated.
I think that's so fair. Like, I'm sorry, but anybody who's complaining about this, I think is ridiculous.
Only to break again when Baldur's Gate devs made another tweak.
Yeah, this is normal.
Of updates pissed off many members of the modding community, with some even threatening Larian's development team. Again, Larian is very pro-mods.
I mean, what, like 6 people? Like, let's be real. Who the fuck actually is doing this?
And is even planning official mod support by the end of the year. But their first concern has to be making the base version of their game as good and stable as possible. And even though it's a small group of people, when a developer puts in as much effort as Larian and they get death threats from modders, other developers might get a little bit nervous. But
well, I mean, I don't think that you should ever, like, you should never make decisions like that based off of people that should be in a padded room. Because if you capitulate to people like that, you're going to end up in a padded room yourself. You can never make those people happy.
Backlash is only the tip of the iceberg. The second issue is legal. Remember that Thomas the Tank Engine mod? The player who made the first popular one for Skyrim got in some serious legal trouble with Mattel, the company that owns the rights to Thomas. Mattel began issuing takedown requests on YouTube videos featuring the mod, and the creator was contacted by Mattel's lawyers, who were upset because he had diminished Thomas's brand by showing him roasting people alive. When developers are creating a new game, they have to be careful not to infringe on others' copyrights. But modders don't usually worry about that, which is why so many mods just add copyrighted characters into the game. Now, developers aren't on the hook for what modders do with their game.
Yeah, who cares?
As we saw with the Thomas mod in Skyrim, the modders got sued, not Bethesda.
Exactly.
But many studios still don't like other people's IP popping up. In 2022, Rockstar clarified that it wanted RP to continue to thrive, but it was not okay with the misuse of Rockstar trademark in other people's IP.
No, they just...
Or SpongeBob.
Nah, they just say that because they have to. Do you think Rockstar really gives a fuck? I bet they think this is funny. I bet, like, if you actually ask them, like, off camera, they think this shit's fucking funny. They don't care. They just have to say that legally.
Which is also why developers sometimes sue modders themselves, because if they don't like what modders are doing with their game, or if they think it negatively impacts their brand, they sue. Which is why...
well, I mean, to be fair, like, this one here, like, everybody knew this Pow World mod was going to get taken down, right? I mean, like, the day it happened, it's like, I remember, I think it was, like, Ludwig who, like, made a video about it and, like, preemptively censored it because, like, everybody knew that this was what was going to happen. And, like, yeah, I think that people have the right to protect their IP to an extent. I mean, I don't think you can stop this from happening. Like, it's not the company's fault. I don't think it's really a big deal. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's like kind of like not a great thing. I in general am very like pro open copyright laws. Like I don't almost any restrictions on it. I'm kind of against.
They sue, which is why so many studios hate
IP protection's good and bad. Yeah, exactly. And also like you've got to keep in mind like these are obviously guys from Nintendo. the way that Nintendo has, like, Nintendo's laws and copyright laws are totally different than America's copyright laws. And I feel like every, like, 4 months we figure that out. We get reminded of that, whether it's from Nintendo or Capcom or something like that, Sony. Yeah, that's just what happens. But I think it's mainly a cultural difference. Did you just call Japan Nintendo? That's what I meant. That's obviously what I meant.
Content mods or mods in general.
Yeah.
They believe it hurts their brand. Companies work really hard to portray themselves a certain way. If your brand is supposed to be seen as family friendly and safe for kids, then your games need to be family friendly or something at all times. Except for that one. Don't worry about that one. But if modders come in and make a lot of easily accessible, not safe for work mods for your supposedly kid-friendly game, that can really damage your image. Nintendo is notorious for...
I actually, by the way, don't think it damages Nintendo's image at all. And I think the people that act like it is are completely fucking delusional. Nobody is going to look at a mod and then think to themselves, oh my god, Nintendo has porn on it. Like, and if people do, like, who gives a shit? Like, personally, I really don't care about people that make mods like that, because I believe that if you buy a game, you should be able to use that game however you want to make the game. I don't think that, like, as a single-player game, if you modify the game files in a single-player game, I don't think that's a problem, because you bought the game. That's it. You bought the game, you should be able to do what you want with it. It's just that simple. Like, I understand, like, you know, it's like, oh, it's actually, you didn't buy it, it's a license. I don't care. I think that's the way it should be. If you buy the game, you should be able to do whatever you want with the game. Now, talking about, like making a character naked is, like, one thing, right? But, like, adding in another IP, that's probably a little bit stickier. But I think especially, you know, for, like, just nude mods or, like, different random mods like that, I really don't see it as being a problem.
The modding of
about
any kind
Bowsette?
in their games.
That'd be a good
This
one.
is the primary reason why. Allowing modding, particularly in an online environment, can make it very hard for developers to control what shows up in their game. And even if they set restrictions and rules on what's okay, they don't always get followed. Which is why companies like Blizzard, Take-Two, and Epic have all sued modders. So if companies don't want to worry
Blizzard
about
sue
legal, companies
modders?
like Blizzard, Take-Two, and Epic have
Hold
all
up. When did this happen? Well, Blizzard welcomes some mods and sues others. That's in 2017. I don't remember why this happened. Was it private servers? Like, oh, I remember. It was the voiceover mod pack. Okay, so that's what I think it was. So really good call there. Almost nobody remembers this. So Belluar went, and in 2017... this is the beginning of Legion. He made an entire voice-acted mod pack for World of Warcraft as a whole in 2017. And this was not a private server. This was for retail WoW servers. And Blizzard had to shut it down because the Blizzard legal team said that it was so big that it would count for an expansion and it would cause some sort of legal issue. So that's
like
probably
Blizzard,
what this was
Take-Two, and
about.
Epic have all sued modders. So if companies don't want to worry about legal issues or brand degradation,
I'm just explaining
they
what
usually
happened.
dislike modding. The fourth reason developers don't like modding is because they want to control what happens in their game. And
Yeah, I don't think that they should have the right to do that. If they want to control what happens in the game, then they shouldn't have sold it. That's my opinion. Don't sell a game if you want to control what people do in it.
The problem developers face is cheating, fighting things like aimbots, mod menus that give godlike powers, and wall hacks. Developers
should have made a movie
because they negatively impact other players' experiences, which can cause people to stop playing. Or
And this, by the way, only applies to single-player games. Like, the second that you start modding in a multiplayer like lobby and you're playing on their servers, they have every right to kick your ass off. Every right. It's not even a question. You start cheating, you're done.
Buy the game. Pretty obvious reason to not like
Life
certain mods,
sentence in
and
prison.
I'm completely behind this one. Now, the
Forced
fifth
labor.
issue is something newer: third-party monetization.
Yeah.
What do I mean by that? Well, for example, NFTs are something that many developers have actively avoided, but third-party modders have tried to tie them to their servers in more than one game. In GTA, the rapper Lil Durk created his own RP server with NFT tie-ins, which Rockstar shut down real quick. Minecraft had this same issue, and Mojang informed everyone that they would not allow blockchain products in the game at all. So the question is, as a developer, do you allow modders to monetize their products that use your game? Many developers clarify in their game rules that all derivative products cannot be sold and must be available for free. But some developers...
Yeah, I do think it's better that things are, like, just available for free. Like, that's the same problem that WoW has had. I go back and forth on thinking about, like, whether that's justifiable, that the company should be able to exercise that right. And I still am not, like, completely convinced one way or another. I think there's a lot of very strong arguments for both sides. So I'm not sure really, like, what's the more ethical thing to do. It's their game. Yeah, it's their game, but it's your money that you spent to buy that game, and then you should have the right to do with that game what you choose to do with it, right? So, like, what about your rights as a customer? So, like, I don't think it's really that simple, but case by case, yeah, I think it's definitely case by case. This wants their money. Consumer rights on the USA. Yeah. We were better at kicking ourselves cheaters ourselves and we ran our own servers. Yeah, in a lot of cases, right?
Allow monetization.
Not if you monetize that game. Well, I don't see the problem. Oh, look who it is. I don't see the problem. Like, if you monetize the game, why should they be allowed to tell you that you can't do that? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me. Because like if I buy a hammer and I build something with a hammer and then I sell the thing that I built with the hammer, should I not be allowed to do that? Why? You bought it as a customer and not a producer. If you want to resell the game, say that to the company up front, but you're not reselling the game. Like that, but that's not what's happening. Yeah, you're not. IP is a little different though. Yeah, but you're not, though. You still have to buy the game. Yeah. And you still have to buy the game. And on top of that, it doesn't, like, so basically, I think that what's always bad with copyright is whenever something cannibalizes the product that it's made from a derivative of. So, like, for example, if somebody just, like, buys a CD and then they burn the CD and then they give it to somebody else, that's bad, right? Because then the person who they give it to won't have to buy the CD. But if a mod isn't doing that and it's adding its own value, then, and you still have to, like, buy the original game, I don't really see how it's ethical to tell people that they can't do that. I can't imagine right now an argument that would convince me otherwise. I'd really have to think about it. A better analogy would be comparing games and music, other forms of entertainment. You can purchase music, but the artistic IP of it, you can't just go and rip the beats and create your own without giving value to the author. Well, yeah, but that's because you're selling the product in the same market. Paid WoW add-ons are also against the TOS. So if you can't, so remix songs. Why are songs different? Yeah, I'd have to think that you can remix it. I'm not sure exactly. Some mod authors like their mods be on Patreon, which is usually $5 minimum to use the mod. Yeah, in general, like, I'll tell you guys this. I hate paid mods. I think it's the most cringe, stupid shit ever. And anytime a company shuts down a paid modder, I still celebrate, even though I'm not entirely convinced that it's an ethical thing to have happen. I think that they're absolute fucking rats for doing that. And so, yeah, I mean, like... I'm just thinking about this in general, right? But
servers
sorry.
Among streamers requires a donation to be seriously considered for access.
Sorry about that. Yeah, cars are modded. Yeah. As on basically even big companies take old game ideas and mod them and sell them. Yeah. For example, is cartooning. Yeah, I'd really have to think about this more. But in general, like, this is like just my overall opinion. I do think that in individual consumers' rights, I generally try to side with the consumer more. Like, if it's 50-50, I'd want to side with the consumer, but I don't think that, like, the consumer has the right to fuck over a company. So I'd really have to think about it.
RP servers among streamers requires a donation to be seriously considered for access. And Rockstar hasn't shut that one down. So there's a tolerance bar somewhere. It just varies from company to company, and I see third-party monetization being more of an issue in the near future. So gaming has changed.
Yeah, I don't think it's been a big enough issue for people to like really care about it enough.
A lot in the last decade, and what used to not matter matters a lot now. And many developers have started to view modding as a threat to their bottom line. In an era of online-only games and microtransactions, modding isn't as simple as it once was. With new
That's one of the reasons why I think people want games to be always online live services, because people can mod, like, the way that, like, for example, Fortnite makes money is through, like, skins. So, like, if for example, Honkai Star Rail, you could just play that whenever you wanted. You didn't need to be connected to anything. Everybody would just mod in every character at the max level with like all the, you know, like fucking like light cones and everything all maxed out. So they wouldn't be able to make any money off of it.
Strategies, many of the things modders used to create and release for free, developers are now trying to sell.
Exactly.
Every game has all sorts of things that they sell. And these things make
And they're just as stupid looking as the mods.
The first sparkly horse in World of Warcraft made more money than StarCraft 2. Fortnite made
Man, that's so funny.
over $50 million from one
And by
set
funny,
of
I mean
NFL
fucking
skins.
depressing.
Cosmetics and in-game purchases make stupid money. And developers don't want modders to add in anything they could sell. If modders make content that's free and developers allow it in, players are less likely to buy the cosmetics. So in today's day
this is very, very common.
and age, the line between what modders are doing and what developers are doing is more blurred than ever. Now,
Usually the modder stuff is better. Like in Starfield, for example.
I am a firm believer that modding can be a great thing for players and developers. Yes, it can sometimes cause legal or technical issues, but most of these issues are few and far between. The biggest reason
I think in general, like this is, like I'm very much pro modding, and it's not even because I care about video game mods. I don't really give a fuck about video game mods, but I only care about it on like an ethics level, that I think that if you buy something, you should have the autonomy to decide what happens with it. Like taking away somebody's rights to be able to do something, I think is like way worse than like a video game mod or anything else. Like the game mods personally, like I don't really care. Like I almost never download mods for games other than WoW. And like maybe I guess the what do you call it? Like the Dark Souls mods, single player mods should be 100% okay. Yeah, that's my perspective too. It's like if you're playing a multiplayer, like for example, I think that the developer should absolutely have the right to deny you service if you're playing on their servers in order to like play a multiplayer game, because like they are providing you service. And at that point, if they couldn't do that, they effectively can't choose who they do service with. It's their server, it's their rules, right? They should be able to decide that. But like with a single player game or with something that's not always online, do the developers really have a leg to stand on ethically, again, with telling people that they can't mod the game? My gut reaction is absolutely fucking not. But I really would probably have to sit down and like really think this out in like 20 different ways.
And developers are fighting modding today is money, but you can work around this. It's important to remember how influential modding has been on games. It has revived some, created new genres, and brought developers millions of dollars for no effort. There will always...
I can't think of a game other than probably Final Fantasy XIV or WoW that would be better without mods. It's ironically the games that I played the most would be better without mods, but every other game would be better with mods. But I think the reason why is because it's a multiplayer game. So it's totally different.
Be the Nintendos who fight modding tooth and nail, but developers should strive to be instead
like
most
people are not like Nintendo,
embracing mods and player creations in whatever way they can, even if they sometimes have to lay down some restrictions, because the pros outweigh the cons. So how should developers navigate this issue in the future to benefit everyone, even in live service games? Some games like Fortnite don't allow mods, but they do have their own platform with Fortnite Creative that allows people to create custom experiences in their game.
It's a multiplayer, always online game. Like modding in a game like that is most of the time, modding in a multiplayer online competitive game, modding is called hacking, and it's called cheating 99 times out of 100.
Can even get paid to do this. Other games like Counter-Strike let player-created cosmetics get voted into the game, with a big financial incentive for the person who made it. Smart developers will find a creative way to let their community financial
Counter-Strike skin creators are making at least 6 figures a year
for the person who made it.
Oh my god.
Smart developers will find a creative way to let their community bring them value, even if it's not on a DayZ scale. And if GTA 5 tells us anything, if gamers want to mod a game badly enough, they'll find a way.
Yeah, they'll do it
whether
anyway.
you use community votes to add player-made content, create an in-game system, or add robust mod support, there are so many ways to benefit from player creations and mods. And since it will likely happen anyway, you might as well take advantage of the effort the community puts in. I think developers should allow and encourage modding as long as it doesn't negatively impact other players' experiences or break any laws.
I completely fucking agree. I totally fucking agree. And I would even go farther as to say, I don't really give a fuck about a lot of the laws. So, like, the only reason that like, and I bet he probably thinks to a certain degree the same thing I do, is like, they have to do that, right? Because it's like, you have to follow the law. But, I mean, fuck the, like, I mean, those laws are bullshit laws anyway. I hope that one day they get changed.
Ultimately, each developer will make that decision, but I think the smartest developers will realize how valuable a modding scene can be for their game. Luckily, the developers who are becoming less mod-friendly are mostly AAA. While it's not necessarily standard for indie developers to always have built-in mod support, especially due to...
I think most people that are anti-modding are also overseas. It's like Japanese companies primarily. Like, I think that Japanese companies are... But it's too much of a coincidence that so many Japanese companies are like draconian about mods. Like, it's not a coincidence. It's their laws. It's the way that their culture is and their system is. That's why it's happening.
Resources required. As long as the game can be modded, it will be. One of the best indie examples of this is one of my favorite indie games, Rounds. A simple mod for the game that increased player count has almost 1 million downloads. And that mod is the entire reason I bought the game. Modding games is a hobby born of passion. Modders have a vision.
Didn't we show that game? We showed that game on Pixel Pitch, didn't we? No. Well, we were going to. Yeah, we were going. That's crazy. I wonder. Yeah, I hadn't seen that. Soda plays it quite a lot. Yeah, I know. Like, we practiced it.
For how a game they love could
Let's
better
see it
suit
again.
them, and they work hard to make it happen.
No, I don't think we did.
Modding brings so much benefit to games and can bring huge value to the players and the developers.
It
as
sure
long
is.
as there are games that are moddable, modding won't be going anywhere.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
and also, like, I'm going to say that I actually think these mods are fucking cringe and stupid, by the way. I think these are so dumb. I don't want to see this. It's like just... It's so stupid to me. Like, I mean, maybe I'm like a boomer, but like I see this. This is ridiculous. I don't want to see this trash.
Won't be going
When's the next Pixel Pitch?
Thanks, everyone,
29th
for
or
watching.
30th.
For those that
Pretty
haven't
sure.
tried Rounds, go pick up a copy
Yeah.
and get the multiplayer mod. You and your buddies will be glad that you did. Peace.
Damn, what a good video. Yeah, I think he brings up a lot of good points. I'm very much pro modding. I completely support modding. Obviously, I think modding and doing it for money is a rat behavior. And I think that, like, as I said, I don't know if ethically, people should be able to shut down modders for, like, making paid mods. I'd have to really think that out. Legally, they can, though, by the way. They legally can do it, so they will do it. And I will tell you this, that every time that one of them does get shut down, I'm happy, because I think that most of the people that do it are just absolute rats. So, yeah, that's my perspective. There's a video. Make sure to give it a like. Give the guy a sub. Like, I've watched Going Indie. Oh, he hit 100,000 subscribers. Holy shit. Yeah, I've watched his videos kind of for a while, and I think they're really good. They're, like, very clean, well put together. I like them a lot. Patreon's full of them. Yeah, I just don't know all of them myself, so, you know, I can't go and talk about every single mod out there. But, yeah, some paid mods are amazing and cheap as fuck. Yeah, but they should be free. That's the difference. That's what I think. If it's okay to sell a mod made into a standalone game, but not the mod itself, well, a mod made into a standalone game. I feel like most mods are not really made into standalone games. That's just what people say in order to, like, downplay what's going on with it, right? That's kind of what I would say.